Hello everyone and welcome to Handstands 2, Beginner Intermediate. So we're going to begin with some wrist strengthening exercises and stretches. So make fists with the hands, take some circles with the wrists, arms extended. Change direction. And then shake it off. Place the hands underneath the shoulders in tabletop position and start to take some circles with the wrists, warming up through the forearms. And changing direction. Start raising the heels of the hands, keeping the weight in the arms. Keep the fingers down. Nice and slow. If you can't do both together, do one at a time. And then 10 as fast as you can. Should be a little burny. Give it a bit of a shake. And then backs of the knuckles on the earth, make fists with the hands. And then we're going to slowly open the backs of the hands on the earth. In and out. Keep the weight in the arms as much as you can here. So in handstands, we're asking our wrists to be ankles. So we really need to focus on warming up and preparing the wrists to bear our body weight. It's not a joint that was designed to do that, so we need to make sure they're nice and strong and ready. We'll begin with some more arm circles, so right arm back for 15. And then forward. Left arm back for 15. Keep the arm floppy and heavy. Use the weight of it to help the momentum of the swings. And forward. And then scapular squeezes, thumbs backward, palms up. Try and keep the rib cage drawing in here. Squeeze the shoulder blades together as hard as you can behind the spine. And then little circles with the hands. Arms in line with shoulders, changing direction. And then warming up through the elbows, keep the forearms and the wrists floppy as you take these circles. Change direction. And then shake it off. And then coming down into plank when you're ready. We're going to go for toes pointed today if you can. So tops of the feet, shoulders above the wrists, 30-second hold. Really protract through the upper back, so push the shoulder blades away from one another, slight doming through the upper back, rib cage drawing in, glute active. Slow, steady breath. Keep the weight forward as best you can. And then slowly come down. We'll move into puppy pose. So tent the finger pads, so palms are lifted, and begin some nice gentle cat-cow movements. Nice and slow, round through the spine, and then allow the ribcage to flare. Keep the gaze forward, fingertips pushing down, knees together. And then coming for a passive hold at the bottom, arms flat and heavy, opening up through the shoulders. And slowly working your way out, meeting in downward facing dog. Stepping the right foot forward in between the hands, untuck the back toes, lower the back knee. And then pop that knee up, keeping on the top of the left foot, opening through that left psoas hip flexor line. And then rebend and lower that back knee, coming into half splits, right toes pointed here. Make sure the bottom isn't sticking out to the right. And then take it as low as you can in your splits, right side. Keep that left hip pushing forward, stay as upright as you can, point the toes. And then slowly work your way out. Move the blocks to one side. Coming back into downward facing dog. Step the left foot forward, untuck the back toes, and then pop that right knee up, opening through that right hip flexor psoas line. Keep the glutes engaged. You can keep the fingertips on the earth. Make the stance a little longer if you want some more intensity. And then lower the back knee, shift the hips back, coming into your half splits. And then reaching for your blocks, come down as low as you can in your splits. Keep that right hip pulling forward. And then point the toes, staying as upright as you can be here. And then slowly working your way out. We'll come into our first lot of drills. So we did this one on handstands one block underneath the shoulder blades, one block underneath the heels. Come to lay down on your back. We'll reach the arms up towards the ceiling and then overhead. Bottom squeezes, lifts off the ground, gazes towards the toes, opening through the shoulders. This week we are going to do these against the wall as well. So 30 seconds here, 30 seconds on the wall, 30-second break in between rounds. Keep the glutes squeezing, legs squeeze together. Try and get longer from toes to fingers. Really reach the arms up and overhead. So this drill is amazing for getting nice open shoulders in your handstands. So no more banana handstands. We're going to work a lot with alignment today. So shifting the mat towards the wall if you need to. And you want to be pretty close to the wall here, so no longer than a block length away from the wall. So setting up when you're ready, place the hands down, push the earth away, get as close to a handstand as you can be before you go up into one, and then gazing towards the toes. Really lean the shoulders away from the wall and keep the body one strong line of energy. So rib cage is drawing in, glutes are active, legs are squeezing together. And then slowly come down, take a little 30-second rest between rounds. And then getting back on the blocks, preparing for your next round of these drills. Reach the fingers up towards the ceiling, lift the head towards the toes, lift the bottom, draw the ribcage in, and then reach the arms up and overhead. Holding here, breathing, getting comfortable in this position. And then releasing, slowly moving yourself towards the wall. You can try a little bit closer or a little bit further away and see how that feels. So kicking up, gaze towards the toes, squeeze the bottom and the legs together, draw the rib cage in. So as always, I recommend videoing your practice so you can start to see where your discrepancies are. Do you always stick your rib cage out? Is your bottom reaching towards the wall? Is there a bit of a zigzag rather than one diagonal line? And then slowly come on down, take a little rest in between sides. And then getting ready for the third and final round of these. Onto the blocks if you're not there already. Point the toes. Reach the arms up towards the ceiling, engage the glutes, lift the bottom. Gaze is towards the feet. Thumbs are near to the earth but not quite touching. Keep a slow, steady breath. See if you can reach those fingers a little bit further away and then slowly come down. Move the blocks out of the way, come to the wall, hands down. Push the earth away and then kick up. Gaze towards the toes, lean the shoulders away from the wall. Light in the feet. Once you get comfortable here, you can play with using the lean of the shoulders and the grip of the fingers to help pull the feet away from the wall in this position. and then slowly come down. Take a little rest in between drills. We're going to move on to some diagonal line stuff after this. It's quite shoulder heavy, so if you need to come out a little bit earlier, please feel free to take 20-second sets instead of 30 if that feels more suitable to where you're at the moment. Using these videos 3 or 4 times a week, you're going to see an improvement very quickly in your handstands. My coach used to say once a week or twice a week is maintenance, and then if you want to get any better, you need to be practicing 3 or 4 times a week. You get comfortable here by how much time you spend doing it. So reaching your hands against the wall, feet on the floor, and you want to make a straight diagonal line here. Hands are shoulder width distance, no wider. Gaze is to the thumbs, and you want to be in handstand position. So rib cage is drawing in, glutes are squeezing, and you are pushing with the hands and the feet. The closer to the wall you are, the easier it will be. So further away is harder. I've gone about 2.5 foot away from the wall. This is sort of beginner intermediate. If you want to make it harder, you can go a little bit further away. So same thing, up against the wall, this time on the hands. Rib cage drawing in, gaze in between the thumbs, and then push with the feet. You can also do this with toes pointed. It's a little nicer if you have socks on. And then slowly come down, take a little rest in between sets. And then preparing for round number 2. Feet together, legs squeezing together, glutes active, gaze up, rib cage in. One strong diagonal line. Push the wall with the hands. This one is quite tough, so if it feels hard, that's because it is. Keep breathing, keep steady, and then slowly come on out. And bringing the hands onto the floor. Toes pointed or feet flexed, depending on whether you've got socks on. One strong diagonal line from fingertips to feet. Really push the earth away with the hands. Keep the breath slow and steady. Gaze is between the wrists. And then slowly come on down, taking a rest in between. And then slowly get ready for our third and final round of these. Today's going to be a bit tougher than handstands 1, just as a heads up. So hands against the wall, feet on the floor, and then push with the hands. Keep trying to work that external rotation through the arms. So triceps down, biceps back behind you as best you can. You want to feel the lats, the shoulder blades trying to wrap around the outside edges of the body, encompassing the torso in muscle. And then slowly come on out. Bring the hands to the floor, feet against the wall. So here I am showing the toes pointed variation. Again, it's a little nicer if you have socks on. Push the hands down, squeeze the legs together, rib cage in, gaze is between the wrists. Keep that steady diagonal line and then slowly come on out. Take a little rest in between exercises. And then slowly work your way out. Measure how long your legs are by placing your feet on the wall, and then your hands are going to go, well, so your feet are going to go where your hips were. Hinging from the hips now, place the hands against the wall, making a right angle at the hips. You might need to shuffle slightly back or slightly forward, and then push the earth away or push the wall away. Gaze is towards the wrists, draw the rib cage in, and then exhale, allow it to soften. So cat-cow like movements like we did in our puppy pose at the start. Legs are locked out and squeezing together. Getting a little bit more mobility through the shoulders here. And then placing the hands where the feet were. Come to an L position on the wall. Toes can be pointed or feet flexed. Draw the rib cage in. And if you need to bring the feet up a little bit higher, you can do here. The hips will go slightly over the head, so there will be a little bit of flaring through the rib cage here. Getting the upper body used to bearing a bit more weight in the arms. And take a little rest in between rounds. And then preparing for round 2. Feet together, hinge from the hips, hands on the wall. Again, videoing your practice is really useful so you can see what kind of angles you're at. And then flaring the rib cage and drawing it back in. And then placing the hands where the feet were or slightly behind. Feet on the wall. Bring the feet down as low as you can, keeping it at a right angle. If they need to be a bit higher, they can be a bit higher. This will make it a little bit easier. And then slowly coming down, take a rest before our third and final round. And then getting ready for your third and final round of these L-shaped handstands, and we'll move on to something a bit more fun. So feet Placed on the floor, hands on the wall, and beginning our open and close through the rib cage and shoulders. And then slowly working your way to the wall. So hands down, feet on the wall. And walk those feet down as low as you can, keeping at a right angle. It should be quite tough here. Go up a little bit higher if you need to. Gaze in between the thumbs, push the earth away, straighten the legs. And slowly come on down, take a little rest in between exercises, and we're going to move on to something I find quite fun. They're flutter kicks. And then slowly come on out. We're going to work our way onto our backs, reaching for a block. The block's going to reach overhead and drive the arms away. Draw the rib cage slightly in and then squeeze the bottom to activate through the glutes. And we're just going to flutter kick the legs. So don't go too high here. You don't want anything more than sort of just over a foot in between the legs as you kick through your flutter kicks. Gaze is going to be towards the toes while you're on the ground, and then when we go to the wall, you're going to gaze in between the wrists. And then slowly releasing. So we don't want to be anything more than sort of just over a foot, foot and a half away from the wall. We're going to do chest to wall today. It's a little scarier, but the alignment is much, much better. So walk the hands in, draw the rib cage in, and then point the toes coming into your flutter kicks. So again, take these quite slowly, point the toes up towards the sky. Keep the rib cage drawing in, gaze in between the wrists, and then slowly come on down. Take a little rest in between sets. We'll do 3 of these. And then preparing for your next round of these, reaching for your block. Reach the arms up and overhead. Squeeze the block between the palms and then begin your flutter kicks. Keep the glutes engaged. Gaze towards the toes. Don't worry if the lower back is slightly lifted here, unless of course you're feeling any discomfort. And then slowly releasing, we'll work our way to the wall. Place the hands down on the floor and then walk up the wall, or however you would prefer to get in. Hands just over a foot away from the wall, come into your handstand line, gaze in between the thumbs, point the toes, coming into your flutter kicks. Keep the legs on and active, glutes squeezing, ribs in, gaze is down. Taking a little rest in between before our last round of these. And then third and final round of these, here we come. Reaching for your block, stretch the arms overhead and start flutter kicking with your legs. Keep the knees locked out, glutes active, squeezing the whole leg, rib cage drawing in, gazing to the toes. And then making your way to the wall, move the block out of the way. Walk the feet up the wall, walk the hands in, get about a foot away, draw the rib cage in, and then start with your flutter kicks. Again, videoing your practice is so useful, noticing if your legs are going too far over. So we don't want the legs to be anywhere past the head here. We want them to be straight up from the wrists and then back to the wall. And then slowly come on down, take a little rest in between exercises. And then moving on to our last set of drills for the day, we're going to do some chest to wall holds. So we're going to walk the hands in as close to the wall as you can be, and then feet are going to be flexed. Gaze is down to the corner of the wall, and then you can play with flexing and pointing the toes. So nothing is on the wall here apart from the feet. Don't rest the chest or the belly against the wall. There should be space there. Keep the earth pushing away. And then slowly come on down, take a little rest in between sets. And then coming up for our next round, when you're ready, walk the feet up against the wall, walk the hands in as close as you can get. So about an inch away from the wall. And then begin flexing and pointing the toes. Try and keep the legs together here. Don't let the legs separate. Squeeze the thighs together. Glutes active. Rib cage drawing in. And then slowly come down. Take another rest before our last set of these. And then coming up for our final set of the endurance hold, Walk the hands in, feet up against the wall, get in even closer if you can, and then begin to point and flex through the toes. So nothing moves here except the feet. Grip the floor with the hands. Give it your best. Keep the legs locked out. And then slowly come on down. Take a rest. Coming into child's pose, allow the arms to internally rotate, feeling that relief through the shoulders. And then slowly come on out. We're going to come into some nice gentle stretches to finish, beginning with broken wing. So right arm out, either directly from the body or right angle at the elbow. And then step the left foot over, back behind you, getting a stretch through that right delt, that right pec, maybe even the right bicep and forearm. And then slowly moving to the left side, so left arm either directly out from the body or bending at the elbow. Stepping the right foot up and over behind you. You can use a gentle push of the right hand to increase the stretch. And then slowly coming back to center. We're going to come into puppy pose with elbows bent, palms together. And then slowly working your way out. Spiral the fingers back to face towards the knees, push the palms down, and then lifting the palms, bend the elbows, getting a stretch through the fingers. Changing direction slightly with the fingers for a different sensation of stretch. And then backs of the hands on the earth, draw the fingers into the palms, straighten the arms as best you can, rolling biceps forward. And then you can use alternate hands to draw the fingers in for a bit of an added stretch. And then shake it off. Thank you all so much for joining me. Hope to see you again soon.